What's up, Airsofters, and welcome back to the channel. I thought it was about time I sat down and looked back over my first full year of Airsoft and to share with you my thoughts and experiences of coming into the sport as a complete novice. I first got into the sport around the summer of 2020, with my only exposure being other people's gameplay videos I'd watched on YouTube. I had done a bit of research into gear and weapons and decided to buy a few items before going along to my first skirmish. I didn't want to go too crazy, so I settled on some different types of eye pro and mouth protection. I had been paintballing before, so I knew about the issues with fogging, so I was concerned that this would be the same for Airsoft, so I wanted to try out a few different options. Unfortunately, this turned out to be the case, where I struggled massively with fogging in the early days. I tried various different anti-fogging sprays and wipes, and I actually found I had better results using this product called Cat Crap. I also bought one of those X-Fog anti-fogging systems to try out. I found this didn't work for me though, with the fans not being powerful enough to clear my goggles, so I ended up selling it. However, it did give me the idea to try and make my own. After a few iterations using various fish tank pumps, I ended up with using a couple of small computer cooling fans attached to the back of my helmet, blowing air through two tubes into each side of my goggles. I coupled these with a switch and ran it off the same battery bank my GoPro head camera ran off, and they worked a treat. As well as attaching the goggles directly to my helmet, I also attached a face mask, meaning I had an all-in-one unit that was much easier to put on and off, but also more comfortable than having lots of different straps going around your head. This is something you will come across if you're new getting into the sport. The fact that you will be constantly tinkering with all your gear, trying out new combinations and custom setups until you find something that works for you. It's also one of the things I've enjoyed the most about getting into Airsoft, that sort of trial and error of different gear combinations and then seeing how they perform out in the field. I also found ways to buy gear second hand through a couple of WhatsApp groups, as well as a UK Airsoft forum, a link to which I'll pop in the description down below. Not only are these great places to buy and sell second-hand gear, but you can also pick up guns and tactical equipment at really good prices. My range of guns has grown massively over the year. I've even bought and sold guns whilst trying to find equipment that suits my playstyle. As you get more into the sport and play more often, depending on the sites you're visiting, you may find you start to lean towards a certain playing style. Whether you like hiding out on the outskirts using a sniper rifle to silently pick off the enemy, or if you're more of the run and gun type player, I encourage you as a newcomer to try out a range of different playstyles until you find one that suits you. However, there is nothing stopping you from playing a number of different playstyles, you just have to make sure you have the right gear and weapons to do it effectively. Now, I most definitely have bought some gear that I didn't need or didn't really work for me. I probably have enough kit now to field a team of rental players myself, so just be careful before splashing out too much money on things that you may not actually need, or at least try out some cheaper alternatives first before paying the big bucks. This does very much go against my buy it nice or buy it twice philosophy. However, when you start totting up the costs of, say, mags and various different types of mag pouches, it's easy to start getting out of control. Well, it is if you run as many mags as I do. Not only has my tactical gear changed over my first year of Airsoft, but also the cameras I'm using to film my gameplay days have evolved. I've gone through several different types of scope cam and selfie cams. I've tried out different ways of recording and editing my videos, and it's evolving all the time. If you're interested in filming your game days too, either for your own benefit or to start making gameplay videos like I do, then check out some of my other videos on a few different scope cam options. I will probably do another video at some point in the future, going more in depth into how I shoot and edit my footage and what equipment and software I use. Now, coming into the sport, I had a lot of preconceptions, and whereas some of them turned out to be true, I was surprised about how many were actually wrong. I thought I would feel like a bit of a fraud turning up to my early games with a bit of my own gear and not using the rental equipment, other than the rental guns of course, but at the same time not having the experience in the sport to be a useful member of the team. However, from the very get-go, I was treated just like any other player and welcomed into the community. Now, this made my transition into Airsoft much more enjoyable, not worrying that every mistake you make will be frowned upon by the more experienced players. There is one preconception that I'm glad to say was accurate though, which is how much I enjoy the sport and how involved I want to get with it. I love everything from the build up to the game days, getting your gear sorted and packed, to getting your new loadouts ready to try out on the day. I also love the mornings, although not so much in the winter or the rain, when everyone's getting kitted up and getting ready for the day, and you go around chatting to the other players about their weapons and gear. Even after the games are enjoyable to me, mainly because that's when I start getting all my footage off my cameras, ready to start editing the gameplay videos, reviewing some of those sweet kills and remembering different parts of the day. This is also when we start planning our next day out and the cycle starts again. As mentioned earlier, the community on the whole is another big plus of Airsoft, and it's easy to make new friends on game days. They are all super helpful and there's no such thing as a stupid question. Everyone knows that you have to start from somewhere, and they've all been through it themselves, so you feel much more comfortable asking questions. Things that in the early days baffled me, they're now second nature, and that's thanks to the community. This makes going to new sites a lot easier too. I still get that feeling of a bit of a newcomer turning up to a new site even now, but only in that initial excitement of trying out something new and different, not that I didn't belong there. Over the past year I've visited 5 different airsoft sites now, all in the UK, with most of our time being spent at MPF Bassett's Pole, just outside Sutton Coldfield. I'll be releasing a video soon where I review all the sites I've played at this year, so if you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do it now, so then you won't miss out when I drop that video. It's been a great experience trying out all the different sites, not only for the different terrains they offer, but it's also interesting to see how each site run their days with different game modes and objectives. It keeps the games feeling fresh and new, although you could argue that the familiarity of playing at the same site is also good. That in-depth knowledge of a certain map and game mode definitely gives you an advantage over the rest. I've also found that through my interactions with the community, as well as my small but growing YouTube following, I'm starting to get noticed at sites with people coming up to me and speaking to me about my YouTube videos, which has been a bit of a surreal but welcome experience. So where do I find myself now, just over a year after my first ever Airsoft experience? Well, I have a lot more gear and weapons than I first started, that's for sure. I now have different loadouts to match the terrain and playstyle I'm going to be playing with. For example, if I'm going to be playing in a woodland setting, I'll take my KMCS ghillie suit, my chest rig and my silenced Mark 23, rather than my traditional plate carrier and one of my other pistols. I've also now started putting together a third loadout tailored around CQB, something I'm looking to start trying out more in my second year of Airsoft. Not only that, but I've also started moving to HPA rather than the traditional AEGs. Moving to a whole new platform has been a big step, and although it is early days so far, I'm loving the results I'm getting from my Wolverine MTW.
Oh, I thought I got him.
I'm also hoping to continue growing my YouTube channel over the next year, and hoping that new regular gameplay videos from different sites, as well as informative videos like this one, will help me reach that goal. Not only that, but I'm looking to grow the Rooster brand, if you will, with the launch of a new website soon, as well as dabbling in offering some merch. All in all, I feel like the past 12 months have been a massive learning experience for me. When I look back to where I started to where I am now, it seems like worlds apart. Gear, weapons and playing styles have all evolved and improved, and I'll be interested to see where I am in another 12 months. It just goes to show that even if you're an absolute amateur like me, it's a great sport to easily get into, especially with the help and support of the community. Now, if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up below, and if you feel there's anything I haven't covered here, then leave a comment and I'll try and fill in the blanks. I only have one more game day booked in, and with my weekends fast filling up before Christmas, it may be my last skirmish of the year. That being said, I should have a couple of final gameplay videos for you before things kick off again in January, hopefully with some CQB action to share with you. Fear not though, I do have a couple of other videos planned between now and the end of the year, and if there's anything you feel I should be covering, please let me know. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing, and hit that little bell icon so you get notified when I drop new content. And I'll see you in the next one.